Okay, so before we can start skinning, we just need to do a bit of setup on the skin modifier. So let's turn on editing by clicking Edit Envelopes, and then let's enable vertex selection, which means I can select the vertices on my mesh here, and we'll turn off cross sections because we don't need to edit those. And in the display rollout down here, turn on show no envelopes because we don't need to see those while we're editing. And the most useful thing we need is the weight tool, which you can access by clicking this little button down here, and it'll pop up a nice floating dialog window that contains pretty much everything we need. So now we're going to start by changing the weights around the ankle. So if you just click and drag to select all of these vertices, you should see the left foot bone appear in the joint list here. So if you click that, it'll show you which vertices are currently weighted to that bone, and it also shows you the bone's origin right here, this little yellow line. And you can actually click on these to highlight them, or you can select them from the list here. So with the left foot bone selected, we just want to select all of these vertices around the ankle, and then click this big 1 button up here. What that'll do is weight all of the vertices onto the left foot bone. And the next step is just to blend those weights between the foot and the toe bone. So if you select 2 vertices on top, you'll see that those are the 2 verts shared by this edge. If you click the loop button, it'll create a selection from the edge loop which was formed by the 2 verts you had highlighted. And now that I've got this selected, I'm just going to click 0.75 to weight that mostly to the left foot bone. But you'll notice now in the weight tool window that we've got a weight of 0.25 on left toe base and 0.75 on left foot. This means that these vertices are going to be influenced more by the movement of the left foot bone than of the left toe base bone. So now we're going to select the left leg bone, which you can do either by clicking it from the list here, or you can actually click on the icon for that joint's origin in the viewport. And now we'll need to select some vertices to weight to this bone. So let's just click and drag around here, and that selects this whole loop. Of course, again, you could use the method where you just select 2 vertices, click the loop button, and as you see, that makes a full selection around the whole leg. And now if I click grow, it expands the selection out on either side, and so I'll do that a couple more times, and now I've got all the verts I want selected. We'll just hit 1 to weight those to the lower leg bone. And now we want to blend the weights between the foot and the lower leg, so let's just select all of these verts around here and get all of the vertices which form the bottom of the trousers. But we don't want any of these up under the foot, we want those fully weighted to the foot bone, so let's deselect those if we had any selected. And now we should be able to weight the selection 0.25, and that means it's still mostly going to be affected by the foot bone, but will be influenced slightly by the leg bone. And if we deselect all of these ones and click 0.5, then we actually influence that a bit more. And we can continue doing this up the leg to blend the weights. So if I just set these as 0.75, and there was some I missed before, which I'm just going to select now and weight those 1 fully to the lower leg. So next we'll want to blend the upper leg joint. So highlight left up leg in the bone list and select 2 of the verts going around the thigh and click loop. That should give you a full selection. Then click grow once and hit 1. And now for the knee blending, we'll want to select 2 vertices again, hit loop, and for this one do 0.9. For the loop below it, again select it in the same way, but this time we aren't going to use any of the predefined weights. We're going to set our own weight, so type 0.4 next to set weight, then click set weight, and it should apply it. And then for the loop below that, we just set it to 0.1. So now we need to weight the hips area. So if you highlight the hips bone from the bone list, you'll see that not many vertices are weighted towards that, but we can fix it by just selecting 2 verts of this loop, hitting loop, and then clicking grow 3 times, and then hit 1. So now we've actually gone over onto the upper leg area, but that's okay because we need to blend it back anyway. So if you highlight left up leg in the bone list and then do a loop selection around this leg and click 0.9, then the one above it, loop selection, and this time we're going to set a weight of 0.7, and then above this, loop won't go all the way around because this isn't an actual edge loop, so we'll need to manually add these vertices under here and set that to 0.5. And then if we select this whole loop again but deselect all of the left hand vertices, so we're just left with these, and click 0.25, that should be a pretty good blend for our hips area. Now that we've set up weights for the foot, the leg and the hips on the left hand side, we can see how that's going to deform. So first we need to exit the skin modifier, just click edit envelopes to turn that off, and then if you select the CTL left foot object at the bottom here, we can now turn on the auto key mode, which basically means wherever we move these objects, a keyframe will be created. So if you drag the time slider to frame 10, we're just going to move this controller up and forwards. Just see how the leg deforms there. And you'll notice that it's created a keyframe on the initial pose at frame 0 and the new place you've moved it to on frame 10. So if we now go to frame 20, we can move this controller to a different location, see if that's okay as well. We can also do stuff like rotate the controller and the keyframe will be applied appropriately. So now if you drag your time along between frame 0 and 20, you should see how the leg is changing there, and it's deforming pretty well. So now you can turn off auto key, just so we don't accidentally create any keyframes, and we can move on to skinning the next area.